Welcome to Zen with a Smile. Today, I want to talk about dreaming. Maybe follow your dreams, lucid dreaming, the power of dreams, or how about dream on? I'm thinking of how to name this segment, so I think dream on it will be. I want to start with a dream that's 21, almost 21 years old. And it was about where I'm living now, long before I had even thought of moving here. I was all set to go to Japan and teach English as a second language. I didn't have a job, but I'll go there. I'd been there a couple times and enjoyed varying degrees of success teaching English as a second language there. So I thought I would try it again. Things slowed down. We had the big recession, 1997, and Asia was looking, Hawaii really suffered, and Asia was looking pretty good. So I thought, let's go to Japan. Well, a few nights before I was booked to leave to Tokyo, I had a dream, and in the dream, it was very clear. In the dream, I remember a message saying, "Go to Taiwan. There's something for you in Taiwan." Well, up to that point, I'd been to Taipei in transit over the years, but never really took a look and never really thought much about Taiwan. I did know some of its history, as I studied Chinese history for years. And I did know about the more modern, the Taiwan after post-World War II. Anyway, I thought, And I'd learned many, many years earlier that to follow my dreams. I'd always followed my dreams. And my dreams had never led me astray. My biggest adventures came through dreams. I learned early that making decisions from here, my track record was less than stellar. Probably about 20% with hindsight really worked out. Whereas decisions from here, which I consider a dream, a direct connection, bypass this hardware, go straight to here, to the software. And my success rate, I've noticed, was over the years is about 80%. So 80% from here, success, 20% success from thinking of a plan. So, taught me early to go with the heart. So, my first step was to call my travel agent, who I'd known for many years, 10, 15 years, and I knew her name was Alice Chang, of course, I knew her. But other than she's ethnically Chinese, I didn't know much about her background. So when I called her, I said, "Hey Alice, I want to include a trip to Taiwan on this trip to Japan. Can you work something out with me? Can you tie the tickets together and give me a trip to Taiwan?" And I told her, it's from a dream. And there was a long pause on the other end of the phone. And actually I heard her crying. And I thought, oh no, what have I done now? I've set this wonderful woman into tears. And what she explained to me was that she was indeed Taiwanese. She was from here, and she was feeling particularly homesick, and she'd been, well, I'd known her for 15 years in Hawaii, so she left Taiwan a number of years earlier. But once Taiwan's in your blood, it's hard to get it out. And she stopped crying and told me that was her home, and she was so pleased that she could help me to make a visit. So she did her magic with my tickets, and I remember there was only an additional $50 charge that included a round-trip, 4-day round-trip ticket to Taiwan, shortly after I had arrived in Tokyo. So the plan was go for 4 days, take a look, and come back and look for a job and do my Japanese thing. So I arrived in Japan, friends met me, did a big welcoming, nice dinner. It's always nice when you first come to Japan. It's always beautiful and wonderful. And it's nice to have friends, and we did the eating and the greetings and the eating things they do so well. And a couple of days later I took off for Taiwan. And I came to Taiwan, came to Taipei, not really knowing what to expect, but just following my dream. And after some adventures, I got to Taipei from the airport on the bus, figured it out how to get to Taipei from the airport. And started just walking around. Well, after I checked in and had a good night's sleep and a good rest and a shower, I started walking around. And I've learned enough in my travels that first thing, go to the hotel, front desk, get a business card with the address when you're in an unknown neighborhood. And then I didn't have to worry. I just started randomly walking because I knew I could just jump in a taxi and show them the card. I didn't have to worry about where I was going. And I was walking and just sightseeing and looking at all the incredible city life and all the new the new expressions of life that I saw everywhere. Taipei was bustling. And several times as I walked around different neighborhoods, aimlessly basically, people would stop and ask if I taught English. I said, yes, I do. So, wow, it's hard to find teachers, they're looking for teachers. Would I be interested? I said, well, I'm just here for a few days. But I did notice, I noticed right away that so many people asked me in that first evening, spent the better part of an afternoon and an evening walking around. Next day I did more of the same, and I got asked a couple more times. And then I thought, hey, nothing's guaranteed in Japan. A job's not waiting for me. I still have to look for a job. So let's take a look. I found the English paper and looked at it. Was quite encouraging. There was quite a bit of ads looking for teachers. So I still had a couple of days left, and I said, hey, I'm going to go for some interviews. And I remember setting up 4 interviews in the course of the day. And this was approaching March. It was in March, actually. But the weather had already turned. It was getting warmer than I was accustomed to. It was quite hot. And I remember that I set up 4 job interviews over the telephone and gave myself a couple hours in between each job. That's reasonable. So I set off, and I remember I wore a long sleeve white shirt and a tie and slacks because I wanted to look professional. Well, walking around in that heat. Anyway, forget professional. I was pretty much a sweaty mess. And I couldn't couldn't find anything. I couldn't find. I started out at 9:30, and at 5:30 in the afternoon, I finally got to interview number 1, which was scheduled for something like 9:30 in the morning. And I went in, and a nice Canadian guy, been in Taiwan about 5 years, he told me, asked me a question. He says, how long have you been here? A day and a half. I says, well, 2 days, going on my second day, how do you find Taiwan? And I said, how do you find Taipei? How do you find it? How does it sit with you? What's your take? How do you feel about this place? And it answered just like good answers just do. It jumped out and I said, organized pandemonium. Organized chaos. Because it was definitely pandemonium. It was definitely chaotic from my eyes. People are hustling and bustling, and it just didn't seem to make any sense. But the key word was organized. I saw that there was something beneath the mad rush that I knew that people had a plan. They knew what they were doing. They're just in a hurry to do it, and they're going all kinds of directions. Scooters, loud. The city was very loud, much louder than my sensibilities. I get a little shell shock with so much city noise. But he looked at me and said, you're hired. So if you can be here that short of time, it's easy to see the chaos, but very few people see the order, see the plan, that the people know what they're doing. They've been doing it a long time. That there was a plan there, a rhythm, an order, even though it appeared to be pandemonium. So this is just an example. We're talking about dreaming. This is an example of how I came to be here in the first place. Totally 100% based on a dream. Well, as an aside, as a PS, I never went back to Japan. I stayed. I gave up my return ticket to Japan. I asked my friends to put my luggage, give it to a freight company and have it delivered to Taipei. And I began my life in Taipei. Again, this was March 1997. So a dream brought me here. Again, why would somebody make a big decision, a life-altering life decision like this based on a dream? And I told you, 80% success rate compared to a 20%. And nothing was really for me in Japan. It was all I had to do. But from the very first day that I came to Taiwan, Taiwan provided for me. Now this is key. It provided for me. I ended up getting a really good job teaching adults, teaching businessmen and adults for Graham English services. I could have ended up teaching kids. There was a lot worse jobs, but I got one of the best jobs out there just by showing up and just by offering my perspective, my view of how I experienced Taiwan. So that began, I'm making money already. I've started work really quickly. The young man there asked me where I stayed, and I showed him this kind of sleazy, not a very good hotel that I found near the train station. He says, hey, go to the hostel. Go to the hostel. Go to Formosa Hostel, and you meet other foreigners, and you get a really quick education about Taiwan, and how to get around and how to do things. So I did, and I ended up staying there a couple of months and had really great adventures there. And again, from a dream. Do you pay attention to your dreams? Do you it's a kind of a cliche, follow your dreams. It's kind of a cliche. But do you listen? Do you pay attention? I can assure you that I do, and have as long as I remember. Recently, my younger sister sent me an email from Palm Springs in the desert in California, saying that she lived there for quite a while. We thought there's no chance of getting her. She puts down roots and she settles, and she's hard to move. But I suggested that she might come here. I thought she'd do well in English, teaching English as a master's degree in international finance, and I thought she might find it interesting. But she was stuck in the desert. Well, just today, I got an email from her saying that she's ready to move. And she said, in her dreams, a reoccurring dream that she'd been having for some years, was telling her that to move, telling her that it's a 6-letter word. The name of the place has 6 letters. It starts with a T and ends with an N. Well, Taiwan fits that, and so does Tucson. Tucson, Arizona. So she said to me today, Tucson or Taiwan? But this kind of spurred me to talk about dreams, because she said this has been a reoccurring dream for a number of years. And it took her a long time to get to the point where she acted on it. So not everybody's as spontaneous as me, but when I have a dream, I listen and I go and I follow. So that brought me to Taiwan, and the dream said, "There's something here for me." Well, I ended up as teaching a lecture in a national university, and had a great 21 years here. Really fortunate and lucky and happy. And I retired because mandatory 65 years is, once you reach 65, it's mandatory retirement here from the university. It was sort of sad because I really wasn't ready to leave. I still had lots of years to teach. Lots of teaching still within me. But so Taiwan provided for me. From the first day I came here. Another dream that's been reoccurring and long, that I haven't really done much acting on it, much to bring it to fruition, for several reasons. And I'll share that dream with you in just a minute. But I learned early, not only to follow my dreams, but let the world come to me. So don't press, don't force. Well, I didn't force anything to come to Taiwan. It just happened. It was so smooth, and it felt so spontaneous, and so unforced, so unplanned by me, and turned out well. But I remember taking a ride out to the North Shore on Oahu, surfing country, with my brother, and we were going to go out and talk to some surf people, and he had a surf shop, and he has a surf shop, and they're making boards, and he went to talk to some people. So this is a couple-hour ride, and we seldom had a lot of time to be together. So he asked me if I stopped by the shop. He said, "Want to go?" I said, "Yeah, I'd love to go." So we hadn't had 2 hours to really talk for quite some time, and I enjoyed this talk. Well, we stopped on the way after we we decided to come the long way back around the island. We were both enjoying each other's company. And there's a Kahana Bay. There's a beautiful bay on Oahu. And across from the bay is a spring, freshwater spring. And he said, "You want to go in there?" I always went onto the ocean side, the bay. Beautiful beach, camping, really nice place. Kahana Bay. But he said, "Let's go on the other side and look at the spring." So we went and sat at the spring and just look at the spring. And I was tossing pebbles into the spring had made a pretty good sized pond, fresh water. And I was tossing pebbles into the pond. And I watched the concentric circles starting from where the stone entered the water. And the concentric circles. And it go all the way to the edge, to the shore. And at that time I had a little epiphany, a little understanding that, wow, those circles don't end don't end where the water ends. It keeps going to infinity. And then I realized that the impact we have, if I'm in a room all by myself and I'm yelling and screaming and nobody's here, I'm sending out these concentric circles that's influencing life as I know it, influencing life around me, adding to the bad vibes and the chaos. On the other hand, if I'm in my meditation room, or if I'm making this video and that my actions, my words are expanding, well, hopefully they're having a more beneficial. Hopefully I'm just doing my small part to contribute to the greater good. So I'd like you to think about that. No matter where you are, what you're doing. There's consequences to your behavior, to your action. They're shared and felt by everyone. So, just keep that in mind. Be mindful of your impact on all the rest of us. But as I was sitting there, I was also thinking that, oh my goodness, life goal. And I never really had a clear one before. Had some vague things in education and some vague things and some teaching, but nothing clear like this. And it came to me, Zen Healing Center, to start as a practitioner already at that time, many years at Zen, a Zen Healing Center. And I wasn't exactly sure what I meant by healing, and what kind of healing I was considering. But probably at that time I'm more inclined to psychology. And maybe I was thinking a place that psychologically people could come for healing. And I just all of a sudden I just visualized the place, and it would start off with a water feature, hopefully a spring. And the idea was to have a spring and have all my water activities. I wanted to have some pools and tubs, and I wanted to have some bathing, some spa kind of hot spring, hot bathing, kind of a starting from the spring. Salt water features, the first layer of the first part of the ring would be water features. And that means showers, and that means ponds to contemplate, to meditate. So start with water. The next level out was food. A communal kitchen. Again, water features surrounded by communal kitchen. The water features include showers, food. So now I had cleaning, water, peace, eating, and then further outrings would be sleeping quarters. And I pictured like a spoke. The hub would be the pond, and as the from the wheel, as the spikes went out, would be a sidewalk, a covered sidewalk, that would lead to sleeping quarters, separate kind of sleeping quarters. And so I was visualizing, I was presented with an idea, a family kind of oriented, hot spring meditation center. So I had water features, get clean, and eat. These are kind of communal things that people can do together. Clean, soak in the tubs, soak in the environment, and then eat, and then retire. But outside of after the eating, after you've cleaned and eat, it's time for meditation. And maybe a little sharing of the Dharma. So I visualized the next ring out was meeting rooms and meditation halls for formal sitting and for chance for communion, a chance for sharing the Dharma. And by the way, these two paintings behind me, that's when this was planned. This is my uniform. At that time I wanted to have a uniform, and my student created this for me. And this is me at my healing center that I had visualized all those years ago. Now I've learned that maybe a uniform, maybe this was my work outfit, because I was going to create this all by myself and start slowly and build. That's why the circles were so build and build and build. Okay? So this was a dream, this is a long-term dream that hasn't come to fruition yet. Because the timing hasn't been correct. I need some land. I need some space. I need to find the correct place. And now I know East Coast Taiwan, somewhere between here and Hualien and Taitou, probably an hour out of Hualien. Maybe, we'll see. But the physical manifestations, I don't have the land, and I don't really have a plan to get land because I know that if and when the time is correct, the land will be provided. Taiwan is provided for everything, all my needs so far. So why should this be any different? So I'm sharing this very private, very personal dream that I've shared with some people, but basically people that I'm close to, and people when the Spirit moved me and said, share it with this person. But it was crystal clear. I can see every step of the way. I can see each step. And so sometimes dreams, even though you follow them, the path may be a little windy. And now I know that if and when the time is right, it will be provided. I have a lot of hard work to do. Yes, when the time comes. But it'll be work that I love. So, just sharing. I want to share quick acting dream coming to Taiwan, which I acted on very quickly. I didn't have to do much. I just made one phone call and everything was provided for me. And came to this beautiful place that's, as I mentioned 2 or 3 times before, provided for me in ways that I didn't even think possible. So remember, going back to that first dream, there's something in Taiwan for you. Well, there certainly has been. Many somethings. But what I want to share is that I gave you an example of a dream that's a work in progress. A work in progress. And I gave you an example of a dream that the fruition, the reward, it just manifested itself almost immediately. So, pay attention. Pay attention to what the universe is trying to tell you. I know there's a lot of noise. There's a lot of noise that interferes. But tune in. Tune into that station. Tune in so you get a strong signal. And see what happens. Thank you.